Okay, what we're going to do today is try to protect an iPhone from any inappropriate content. So there's going to be two stages. The first is we're going to install a safe browser which blocks any content which we may not want to see, and the second part is disabling any other ways to access that. This is exactly the same process as what you go through on an iPad. So the first thing that we do is we go to the App Store and we're going to do a search for K9. And the first one that comes up is a K9 web protection browser. So as you can see, that's free. It has ads down the bottom, so you can pay a few dollars more to remove those if you need to. That gives you some of the features of it and what it blocks. And that has a few screenshots of what it looks like when it blocks a page, etc. On the Windows version, you can tell it what you want to, what categories you want to allow and what you want to block, whereas the mobile versions for iPhone and Android don't really give you that option, but it's okay. So we can see there it's just installing. You can see next to it we have Safari and YouTube, so that's something that we're going to block later on because we don't want to have access to that. So here's our K9 browser. So here's our browser. So here are some of the features that you'd normally get in a browser. You can type a URL up the top, you can do a search, my top sites, bookmarks and history, and you can have multiple pages open at the same time. Pretty much exactly what you see in Safari, so it should do the same thing. Only difference of course is if there's a site which has inappropriate content, it will block that. So the idea is that this completely replaces Safari. What I've clicked here is you can see these are some ways of locking down the phone more, so we're going to go through those steps in a moment. But if you wanted to have a look at those yourselves, you can do that. It gives you a good walkthrough of what to do. So we're going to go back now, and that's what we're going to do. So we go to Settings, want to go to General, which you can see there. It's called Restrictions. So you want to turn the restrictions on. So we need to type in a PIN code. Obviously you give that to someone else, so the person using the phone doesn't know the code. And then the first things that we want to do is turn off Safari and YouTube, and you can also turn off iTunes if you want to, and you can also turn off installing apps. Obviously you want to check that there aren't inappropriate apps on there already, but then you can turn that off so they can't install new ones. The other thing you can do with apps, you can either turn off apps completely, and the same with iTunes, or you can use a parental filtering in here, which is really good. So they can install apps and watch movies, but only to PG level. Apple also have it that any apps which give you full internet access are 17+, so doing that is a pretty safe way of doing things. There we have it. So if we go back to where we were before, we'll see that Safari and YouTube have disappeared. The other option that you have with trying to secure an iPhone is to not use the K9 browser at all. So to basically go through the second half of what I was doing there, but not have a browser. That means that you can't browse the internet, but the phone is a lot more secure, so you can just do messaging, check your email, go on maps, listen to music, do a lot of the stuff that you could do normally on a phone, but you don't have any access to the internet. That can be safer because sometimes things may come through on the K9 browser. So, and I think generally speaking it's better to start on the safer side and then relax restrictions as time goes on. Okay, thanks very much for watching.